you were mentioning you just finished your fast.
Sure.
You've done fasts before.
Yeah.
This was your longest, you said.
Longest.
So it was like what 3.5 days about
About 4 days.
4 days.
Yeah.
So what it was just what just water.
Just water essentially. So water, some salt water for electrolytes if needed. If need be.
Like those packets, the ones or
Just
just
Himalayan sea salt
oh
and
okay
Celtic sea salt. And then some bone broth if necessary.
okay.
You know,
How frequently do you do these?
I try to do a fast once a month at least. How long I do it, that would be kind of based off how I feel.
Okay.
So 24-hour fast, the 48-hour fast. This one was like an open-ended fast. Let's see what happens kind of thing.
So you went pretty much as long as you were.
I could have gone longer for sure.
Okay.
I felt great. And I still do. Like I'm still on that mountaintop where like the mood is completely shifted and energy's there. Like obviously you could tell I'm very talkative today. I mean,
not a good way.
In a good way, I guess. Hope I don't get myself in trouble in any way, shape, or form.
No, I don't think so.
Cool. But yeah, it's like just feels like great. So I'm gonna leave it open ended from now on. Like that was a new thing.
Yeah, some good looking meals after too.
Oh, thanks for keeping up with that. It was special.
Yeah, I was special. Especially the steak. I was like, God damn, that looks good.
Yeah, and I guarantee you one thing: taking a bite out of that steak, the flavors that it's a flavor palette like you wouldn't taste if you're constantly like perpetually eating. Right. You know what I mean? The butter tasted so different. The cucumbers tasted so different. Like everything, the palate just changes. You know, it does its job in that sense. So it's great.
Are you familiar with Jordan Peterson?
Yes.
You know her daughter, Michaela?
I'm not aware.
Okay, so he has a daughter, Michaela,
cool.
Who, when was it? She put out like a video on YouTube. I think it was June. It was sometime this year. She did a fast as well, 12 days.
Cool.
And it was
that's heroic right there. That's good stuff.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because she was trying to beat her dad's. Her dad had 10.
Because Jordan's 10, I think. Beast.
Yeah. He had done 10. So she's like she didn't have like a number. I think she said she wanted to go 7. And then but what it was kind of what you described, like as each day kind of went, I think her hump day was like 2 or 3. She was kind of feeling like whatever. And then after that, she's like, I felt great progressively as each day passed. Yeah. So she got to like 7. She's like, no, I still feel pretty good. I'm going to keep going. She's like, let me see if I can beat my dad's at 10. She passed that. She got to 11. She's like, I still feel pretty good. I can maybe keep going. She had some bone broth. She's like, it's still like kind of fairly liquid. Like I'll still count it. Yeah. She got to 12. And she's like, honestly, I can maybe keep going, but I'm finally going to eat. And I'm watching this. I'm like, and the thing is, she was very positive throughout each day. And I'm just, because I haven't done it, honestly. The longest I've done is just within the day. Maybe I've done a day, like during college, like accidentally.
Cool.
But it's not like in a good way. Like maybe just like water, but not as often as it should happen.
Cool.
And also, I don't think I think you're not really told this is a good thing to do. It's like, what do you mean? You didn't eat? No, go eat.
It's not a part of Western medicine.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, do you ever run into that? Like if you meet new people, for example, and like, you know, you talk about if this is kind of health related stuff come up, do you run into opposition ever? Like that's not the way.
And I love it because especially if it's an educated opposition, because now I can rebuttal with you. If it's just like, no, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like you're not eating. Oh, it can't be good for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you get that closed-minded, like, wall, he's like, all right, whatever I say right now, like I'm not going to be able to swivel around. No problem. I don't even have to. It's not my purpose right now. Nor is it something I have to engage with if I don't want to. But yeah, it happens quite often. I mean, just the other day, I think when I started at home, the first thing was like, oh, you're fasting again, like stop. But then they just saw how I was feeling, and all of a sudden my mom's like, I think I want to try a fast. I was like, there you go. Let's do this thing. You know what I mean? I'm helping her go through her 48th hour as we speak.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's cool. But yeah, you get opposition all the time. And it's just a matter of information. And then sometimes also what happens is like, you know what? When I have the opposition, like, you know what? Now that I think about it, back in our country, they used to make us fast once a week as a mandatory, or, oh, Jesus, 40-day fast. You know, like things like that will start coming up and like, okay, I guess it's not that taboo, you know? But then you, of course, like anything else, you have the anti. And then when you're dealing with the anti, it's like, okay, cool, no worries. Do your thing. I'll do my thing. I feel great. I look good. I'm able to help people doing this. I'm okay with this decision. You know what I mean? Opposition, all praise to you. All respect to you. You know, is the argument even worth it? Who knows?
I guess it just matters how they approach it too. If it's like the first way you described it, then it's gonna be like,
well, energy is everything, right? You feel the energy before you even hear someone speak words. You feel like that like I'm coming at you kind of thing, and you're like, all right, bro, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't want to deal with this. And some kind of feed off of that, you're like, all right, yeah, you know, let me tell you about a little bit of fasting, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like they'll get into that zone. But yeah.
Have you ever been swayed one way, like based on like when you have like an educated opposition? Was there something that you can remember someone bringing up that you were kind of not necessarily against, but not something you would do, where they brought up, you're like, oh, that's you have something there, and then maybe you looked into it or you ended up kind of going with it.
Yes. Of course, I think it was in the beginning. Well, first I was first opposed to fasting in a way. So
Okay.
let's start with that. I was always on the headspace of you gotta eat. You gotta eat 6 meals a day, 5 meals a day, 4 meals a day, 3 meals a day. That's what I would learn. That's kind of what like the personal training certifications will teach you, right? Like the book,
Do they still?
essentially. But you have a little bit more progressive companies out there that are trying to get the real information out there.
Okay.
Um, so I was, of course, one of those people too. And then my buddies who are really, really into this, and they're like fasting, 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 fasting. This is not too long ago, maybe a year ago, maybe actually a year or 2 years ago. And they kept talking about fasting, and I was like, all right, fasting, huh? You guys seem to be okay. I'm a skinny guy. If I fast, I'm gonna become like a complete like skeleton. But then I looked into the health benefits, and I looked into places like Russia where there's facilities that have treated over 10,000 patients using fasting for any autoimmune disease, eczema, um, arthritis, some cancers. It's like, okay, cool. So there's people out there that have used fasting as an actual way of helping others. And then obviously I didn't think about it at the time too, but Jesus, I'll go back to like one of the most effective healers known to man at this point. How much of it is glorified or whatever, whatnot. I don't want to get into that, but we know that this person kind of was a healer in his true essence, and that's what it was. This guy practiced it too. He implemented a whole system based off of that. The world's been using it thus far. You have, who is it? I think another in another religion where they take Saturdays, I believe, off, or is it Fridays of food, or they
Oh, Judaism, Sabbath.
perhaps there we go. So it's there, and it kind of swayed me, and that's what swayed me is pretty much. And then I just started off the bat. It was like, okay, cool. I haven't eaten. I've just woken up. I'm already 8 hours fasted. Great, let's go for 24 hours. So let's try this thing out. And I was also at a point where like I was all about really diving into my personal self and personal healing and stuff. So fasting came as the first thing. I was like, oh, great, I asked for it, and here it is. The message was fast. Tap into that energy. See what that's about. See how it feels in your body. Swayed towards that side. Tried it. I was like, yeah, I'm all about this now. You know what I mean? So I'm a good case in point for you there. I'm yet to have anyone try to sway me the other direction, because once you experience it, you're like, I don't know. Like, this feels pretty damn good. It feels right. Like,
Your first fast was 24 hours?
24 hours. Yeah. Well, intermittent fasting too. Intermittent fasting is essentially giving yourself the 2 windows, right? So outside
like in
of
one
full 24 hours.
full 20.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, were you like, I gotta eat, or were you like, I can maybe go a little more?
I'm sure I was like, if I remember correctly, I'm sure I had like the little wuss inside of me being like, that voice, and be like, bro, you need to eat now, But I was like, no, I'm okay. But I'm gonna make the decision to eat now.
Okay.
Yeah. Just this is enough for today. I've gathered enough data and information about this 24-hour fast for me to better equip myself for the next one coming up.
In a 24-hour one, would you still do the salt, like the Himalayan salt, Celtic salt, or that one is like short enough where just water on its own will suffice?
Short enough, it's just water. Essentially, what the salt is for is so after about 24 hours, your body stops. Your body realizes like, yo, I'm no longer getting any glucose, and glucose is one of the ways your body gets energy, through sugar, carbohydrates, XYZ. There's also 2 other systems in which your body is able to convert energy, proteins and fats. So after 24 hours, your body's like, yo, dude, you haven't fed me, and I don't think you're going to feed me. So guess what? I'm going to start getting some glucose from my friends over here called muscles, because they're proteins, and proteins have glucose. You know what I mean? And then at that point, when that happens, your body has a little shift, and that's the shift most people feel. So if you're going 24 hours, you can break that easy. You'll come back. After 24 hours, most people will start feeling that headachy kind of, I'm getting a little like lethargic and all. For some, again, it's way before that 24th hour. But essentially, it's just you feel that thing. You're like, okay, I feel good. Cut it at 24 hours. I'm back to being human again. Not much of a difference there. Once you dive into 48, 72, 90, now we're talking. Now your body's going through some major change. You're going from a a diesel engine to all of a sudden going from a regular fuel engine, let's say, and your body's converting it to a diesel engine within itself. You're like, holy crap, dude, this thing is pretty damn cool. Like Tony Stark in the flesh situation, you know, like I'm Iron Man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm Iron Man. Like I can do all these things, you know. So it's fascinating, bro. It's really, really fascinating. And
Uh,
if you heard anyone doing the ketosis diet or the keto diet,
She was doing that. That's what Michaela Peterson was in ketosis throughout that 12-day fast.
well, when you're fasting, that's
Well, yeah, that was right.
so. Like I was mentioning, right? It's like the proteins.
Mhm.
Do you know a little bit about it?
Of what? Ketosis.
What like the fast does and how ketosis comes into play?
Well, isn't it? Well, the actually no. Go ahead, tell me.
So from what I've understood and from my studying and stuff, of course, it's the body has, again, like I said, glucose, proteins, and then fats. Yeah, glucose is deprived from the body. The body decides I need to figure out a different way to get my energy. I go to my proteins. Proteins pulls its glucose out. Realizes protein is not a very efficient source. The body then transfers itself into ketosis, where the liver now starts producing ketones, and the body starts burning away from its own fat, which is why the keto diet essentially is a high fat, mid protein, very low carb,
Right.
keeping the sugar out of the body. So once you're in ketosis during a fast, which is past your 48th hour, usually for the most part,
Okay.
like myself right now, I'm in a keto diet just to ride that wave for a little bit longer and not to make any dramatic changes to my system. So once you start going keto, once your body is now eating away out of its own fat and using its fat as an efficient fuel source and producing ketones, ketosis comes in. So whether you're on the keto diet or fasting, you're in keto. Just doing a keto diet to break your fast essentially is what becomes the important part. That's what's going to allow you to ride that wave for a little bit longer and feel that, that energy and that peak that you were feeling.
So after that transitionary period from fast to kind of reintroducing food, you said you kind of introduced it with keto, and then are you eating with the keto diet, or it's just that few days afterwards to just kind of transition?
That'll kind of be a choice thing. I'm actually have never tried the
Okay.
keto
Yeah,
diet, so
that's fine.
for me this
Okay.
is maybe going to be become another experiment and a project for myself. How long is keto going to last for me? How well am I going to feel? Is it something for me actually? You're known to lose a little bit of weight when you're on keto, but
Right.
you also get really shredded. So I've lost like about 10-15 pounds just in the last couple of days.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dude.
Holy crap.
It's crazy stuff. But it's like just water weight.
Yeah.
And besides water weight too, it's like,
but you can physically, like, looking at yourself, you can physically see.
I'm
yeah,
shredded, dude.
Wow.
Right now I'm shredded, and
Damn.
I was not that shredded considering before I started this, and I'm not nearly where I was when I was bodybuilding and doing all that kind of stuff, of course. But yeah, my body made dramatic change. Skin started glowing. Freaking.
She was saying the same thing. Peterson's
It's
daughter.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, I want to practice keto for a little bit just to gather some more information about it too. You never know.
Do you check it on the thing?
I just got my piss test.
Okay.
So it's just something. It's a little tab.
Yeah.
I'll check the pH. It'll kind of let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that version. And I think there's one where you just prick your finger and you put it in the thing.
Yeah.
I guess they're just different.
It's an insulin thing at that
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Just making sure you're not spiking and all. Because that's the damaging part to the body. Constantly spiking your insulin. That's where diabetes and all these things come into play. You know what I mean? So keeping the insulin at bay, kind of. Yeah. So this keto diet's gonna be interesting. I'm